Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Web3 Weekly Alpha. This is episode 9. We've been doing this 9 weeks in a row. Appreciate everybody who's been supporting and watching, and we will continue to put these out every week. It's your host, Serpunk, and here we go over everything happening in the digital renaissance. We go over NFTs, crypto, metaverse, anything Web3 related. We try to get you guys caught up, and especially, of course, the markets. And we always like to start off with the charts. So let's jump right into what they're looking like this week. Where we start off with the leaders to kind of help gauge maybe where the rest of the market may be short-term and medium term. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has not done much in 3 weeks. As you can see, this is the weekly chart. We've had 3 tight weekly closes in a row, pretty much closing right in the exact same price range. But this to me looks like a bull flag. As you can see, we had that monster bullish breakout on the weekly on volume, and now we're just kind of tight. So it does look like a bull flag. I'm really hoping we can get out of this tight channel here and just continue this bullish trend. But of course, nothing's guaranteed. But so far, it's not doing anything too wrong, and that's good. So same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum actually tried to really go this week a little bit. It kind of got pushed down a little bit, but that's fine. It's above this critical support level. So I think as long as we stay above here, we should be okay. And we just need to get back above this level to get that breakout going again. But for now, they've been, pretty much relatively sideways, both Ethereum and Bitcoin. And I think this week coming up, we should probably see some sort of action, I hope. All right, moving on to NFTs. Start off with the leaders, Bored Ape Yacht Club. Not much going on here either. Honestly, it's been 3 weeks of not much action, sideways action. And we're below kind of a short-term support here. And we're just kind of holding these previous lows and under 60. So I'm hoping we don't continue this trend down and we kind of just sideways and reclaim this level. Same thing with Mutant. At least with Mutants, we've managed to hold that short-term support, and it's not wanting to go lower. So that's a good sign for now. But let's see what happens. Kind of sideways actions on Mutants as well. CryptoPunks hasn't done much either. As you can see, we were in this long-term trend channel, and we tried to break out, failed. We tried to break down. Not sure if we're going to continue this side or not. But I'm really hoping we can see back into this channel, so at least we're not looking as bearish as now. All right, there are some things this week in the NFT market that are showing finally some bullish signs. It seems to be early, so it's only in certain projects, but it is at least still some good information that we're receiving from the markets. Number one is Azuki. Azuki is starting to bounce here off the support level after kind of holding it for weeks in a row and even holding that 20 moving average. So we're breaking the trend line. We bounced off the support. Tons and tons of grail buys on Azuki, which is an extremely bullish thing to see in a project. Shout out to D-Farm where he says, Azuki sales and OTC trades has been nonstop grails for days, 5, 8, 10x above the floor. And Azuki's not doing anything in terms of airdrops or anything to create hype. It's just people genuinely wanting to collect what they like out of the Azuki collection and be a part of the garden. So super cool to see. It is bullish action, and it seems to be Azuki is leading that forefront right now. Moving on to beans. If you can't afford an Azuki, take a look at a bean. And beans are also looking similar to Azuki, where they pulled back, they holding that support. It hasn't yet broken that trend line like Azuki has, but it seems like it could follow. As you know, beans will typically act as a sympathy play to its parent NFT collection, Azuki's. We see that time and time again in the NFT industry. So let's see if we can get that follow through. And if so, this may be a cheap entry for most people. DGods. DGods was a sell news event when it bridged over migrated chains, and it was on the front page of Blur. But this was a pretty quick and massive bounce here on this weekly candle. As you can see, just big volume, huge reversal, straight from 8 to 9.5 pretty much in the week. And let's see what happens here. I'm not sure if that's too much too quick and we need to consolidate, or if this is just going to continue to accelerate to the upside. If it holds above 9.5, could be an interesting action in the next week. Azuki on the daily, I just wanted to laser in a little bit more on the shorter term time frame so you can see. But pretty much looks like the weekly, but we are breaking that trend line above that 14 ETH mark finally and the 15 ETH mark, which we've been looking for that for a while. Captains, another one that was showing strength early on, even before Azuki's. So we're starting to see some of those signs, like I was saying. Captains on the weekly here broke out, and it's still going. Had a strong week, so just if you're in it, let it ride. I think the reveal may be coming soon, but usually floors tend to revert back after those reveals. If you didn't notice, like I didn't, shout out to Amine.eth where he points out the potatoes has flipped CloneX and Doodles. We know Captains has already done it, but now the second Meme Land collection has done it, which is an interesting turn of events during this cycle here. Speaking of potatoes, we had that big breakout here. We're hanging around that 3 ETH mark. It's still looking strong. Meme Land ecosystem is hot right now. Pudgy Penguins. I love the Pudgies. Who doesn't love the Pudgies? But I think it's in a matter of time that Pudgies end up following the Meme Land and Azuki price action. We have this pullback after a big base breakout. It's reverting back to that breakout level, but I think we could get a nice bounce off of this level, especially now you're seeing some strength in other areas of the market. Killer Bears was also one that was showing relative strength last cycle. Pulled back, didn't give up that much, which is a bullish sign here, and then kind of holding up on this support level. So let's see if this could follow suit with everything else, at least in the short term. Campai Pandas, holding up this support as well, kind of just going sideways, kind of popped to that 2 ETH mark, sold off. So looks like to be just going sideways for now. Oh, Pepins, could we have bottomed? I don't know, but we are breaking back above this little pivot area above 0.4. There's a lot of interesting things happening. We'll be jumping into it within the show later on, where Jack Butcher is introducing OPEPin AI, where there's a lot of AI stuff happening for the OPEPin art. Exciting stuff. So maybe that is what could take us and help us create a bottom here for OPEPin. Checks has not done much. Gone sideways last 3 weeks. We have formed a little pivot area, so looking to see if we can get back above those levels. Sappy Seals has an incredible community, but this week we did see some relative weakness where we broke through the support to the downside, and we're just kind of holding up there. So not exactly what I wanted to see, but if the rest of the market continues to go, then I would expect Sappies to go as well. But again, playing some of the stronger ones is always a higher probability bet. On-chain monkeys had that big move weeks ago at Ordinals, kind of pulled back, and it's just kind of holding up here, kind of like a little double bottom here in the short term, but seems to be just going sideways for now. Nakamigos, which has been the project that everybody's been talking about on Twitter, and tons of brands and startups are taking advantage of the Nakamigos hype right now and integrating them into all different kinds of things that we're going to be going over in a short few. But incredible strength, man. I mean, this thing rocketed all the way to 0.9 ETH. Beeple came in, slapped it down with his everyday of Nakamigos, showing tribute to them, and then it just quickly recovered, and it looks like we can be breaking all-time highs here. So I'm excited to see that. This is actually the daily chart, so you can see it on a smaller time frame. If we can get above this level, 0.8, we can maybe keep going here. So, but KBB, King Blackboard, he says, the Nakamigos mystery founders have the best job in the world. They only post one tweet a day, and they received $3 million in royalties in the past 2 weeks. You might be asking, well, I thought people don't pay royalties anymore. Well, new projects are able to enforce royalties, and Blur and OpenSea will accept that. We talked about that weeks ago, and Nakamigos has done that, and they have set royalties at 5%, and people are paying them. So they've already generated $3 million, 2 weeks. Pretty insane. What are these founders doing? Not sure. He suggests they should open up a treasury for the community, since they're pretty much doing all the work from here anyways, and I think that's a good idea. Interesting information here where somebody charted every time Beeple made an everyday for a project that was the meta and that was hype at the moment. So when checks was blowing up with Jack Butcher, people created that every day is here where he says, how big is your check mark? And that ended up being the short-term top. Same thing with Friends bracelets, ended up being the short-term top. I don't know why I added that one there. And then this is the Nakamigos, where he created the everydays for Nakamigos, tweeted about it several days ago, and it did pull back. That's what caused this pullback here. But they're buying it back up. They're saying, forget you, people, you're not keeping us down. We're going to keep running. So interesting action here. And he did say if they run past 1 ETH, he will create another tribute to Nakamigos. And it looks like the community's trying to challenge him on with that one. Doodles has been down only for weeks. We haven't even seen a bottoming candle on the weekly, nothing. But hopefully at some point we can get a little turnaround here with the rest of the market showing some strength. Same thing with Artifact. Nothing goes up forever. Nothing goes down forever. At some point these things got a bottom reverse. But I'm wanting to see some candle reversal happening on weekly or something. Same thing with Moonbirds. Down only. But at some point these things get oversold in the short term at least, right? I don't know for the long term. All right. Let's check out some of the Grail generative art charts and see where we're at in the digital art space, right? And pretty much everything is down only for the last several weeks. So you can see Chromie Squiggles, which is considered a Grail generative art project from Art Blocks, was the first one by Snowfro. And you can see that we had a high of 16 ETH earlier this year and last year, and now we're all the way down below 10 ETH for the first time in a while. That was actually a pretty big support. So interested to see. But I think we're definitely getting into interesting opportunity area in terms of prices if you're wanting to grab some of these grails or even play them short term. I think for Chromie Squiggles, even Fidenzas, right? Fidenzas got all the way to 100 ETH, down now over 65 ETH. And it's been down a big amount. So nothing's up forever, nothing's down forever. Just a reminder. And if you've been, trying to snipe one of these grails, then this could be a good time for you. Ringers, same thing. Got above 60 ETH, back testing lows from 2022. So this could be interesting spots for those art collectors. As we know, digital art ain't going nowhere. Life in West America, which dropped on the Braindrops AI platform, had a killer move all the way up to 12 ETH area, and the AI hype died down relatively quick, and then now we're all the way down to 4 ETH. Pretty massive move. People were considering this like the Fidenzas of AI, and it is an incredibly cool project. I think the artist of this, Rupe Renesto, just dropped a second collection this week. Some collectors were not a fan of it. They said it was too close to the art in this collection. Some people dumped. I looked at it. I thought it was awesome. It was similar in some aspects, but the art was incredible to me. But again, this could be interesting areas in terms of price. And then NFT Statistics, another great piece of data for him, where he says nearly 70% of art blocks trades, which we were just looking at with Squiggles, Ringers, and Fidenzas, are now sellers accepting WETH bids. So instead of owners pricing it higher and people paying that ETH, people are putting potential buyers are putting out bids, and these sellers are accepting those WETH bids, which it's at a 70% rate, and that usually means people are just trying to take what they were getting offered right now. And that's I think more of like things you see towards the bottom, where people are just, you know what, just give me liquidity, prices are going down, I don't care, just get me out kind of thing. But again, that could be opportunities for other collectors who've been waiting for these prices. Shout out to Tim, always has the great art data, where he says, despite enormous growth in the last 4 months, AI art is still a fraction of generative art. As you can see, we went over Life in West America, which was the AI projects, and then Squiggles and Fidenzas, the generative art projects. So those are, they've been here a while. There's many projects on art blocks. Braindrops and AI is just kind of up and coming, and it's just a fraction of that generative art market. So I think there's still tons of opportunity, as I don't believe AI is going anywhere. I think AI is just going to continue to grow. Now, let's go into some things that are impacting markets in different ways. Jumping right in, shout out to Degentraland, where he says it's only been a week, and Utes from the DeGods ecosystem has already done $4 million in sales on Polygon. It will crack the top 5 in all-time Polygon NFT sales in its first 2 months. And Polygon only paid $3 million to DeGods and Frank to move over from Solana. So great business investment on the Polygon side. As you can see here as well, Utes is already number 14 in all-time Polygon volume. They literally just came out. So smart move by Polygon. The Utes community is a really strong one, as you can tell. Shout out to Tim. He points out some interesting, cool data here, where he says rising digital artists are massively outperforming OG artists, collecting people like Sam Spratt, OSF Rect, Grant Yoon, Ak, Guido. They've returned 3x in the last year despite the challenging market compared to other crypto OGs. And who are these OGs? Well, Xcopy, Pack, Justin, Hackatow. So some of these guys that are OGs and women, they've kind of been taking a break in terms of their collections prices, but these young guns are coming in hot, and people are scooping those things up. All right, another interesting data point, which I think is accurate in all markets, because they say over 90% of market participants lose money. But NFT Statistics lays it out great for us in the NFT market, where he says, fun data, people sell NFTs much more quickly when they are up than when they are down. Number of days median OpenSea sellers held. Profitable sellers only held for 2 days. Unprofitable sellers held for 18 days. And this is, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody, right? Most people do the opposite of what you're supposed to do to make money. I've caught myself in many of these situations as well. When you are down on an NFT, on a stock, on whatever, you're stuck on the hopium, and you're like, man, maybe this will turn around. Let me hold it for a little longer. And then it just goes lower and lower and lower. You hold it for longer, and then you capitulate at a much lower price. But as soon as you're up any kinds of money on an investment on NFT, you just want to take that profit and run, right? So then your losses end up being bigger than your wins. And not only that, but you're also losing opportunity costs because you're holding a losing asset for 18 days. This is more of from the trader mindset. If you're an investor, different. But for traders lose money by doing this exact thing right here. So shout out to NFT Statistics. Let's jump into some large sales, which there was quite a good amount this week, and some really cool ones. Let's check it out. Shout out to Cyrus, the OG trader, where he says, this just sold for 75 ETH, $133,000. It was an all-time high sale for Utes, as we were just talking about him, and maybe for all-time sale on Polygon, right? And the reason I found out, shout out to Cyrus again, where he says, This is one of the 40 one-of-ones in the youth's collection, which I wasn't even aware there was 40 one-of-ones, but it makes sense why this was such a high sale. Shout out to Nikolai, where he helps run Deep NFT Value. And he says the highest DeGod sale we've seen on Ethereum, and it was for 18 ETH, $33,000. The floor is at 8 ETH, so 2x the floor here. Congratulations to the seller and buyer. Serpunk lays out that Steve Aoki bought 2 DeGods this week. We know what happens when Steve Aoki buys an NFT. It is over. He buys the top every single time. So it is over. Pack it up, DeGods. You had your fun. I'm kidding. Maybe the DeGods community is strong enough to overcome the Steve Aoki curse. But nonetheless, he came in and he bought 2 DeGods. Cool to see Steve Aoki, who's deep in the Web3 space, come in and vibe with the DeGods community. Even Frank pointed it out. He says, welcome to the community, Steve Aoki. I prepared for this moment for a while. And DJ News says Frank wants to break the Steve Aoki curse. Let's see if they can pull it off. This amazing piece by one of my favorite artists in the space, his name's Terrell, sold for 20 ETH, $37,000. Congrats to him. Really dope art style. Azukis and Zuki Grails have been on absolute fire this week. This sold for 200 ETH, $378,000 on X2Y2. It's a golden skateboard Azuki, and people are really starting to raise the floor of just rare Azukis that are not even considered like top grails. They're just buying up these cool looking Azukis. Another one, shout out to NFT Statistics, where he says this is the highest non-spirit Azuki sale on record. Sold for 218 ETH a couple nights ago. It's a triple lightning, and that makes it a grail. So you're seeing these nonstop. Here's another one. You're not seeing this really in any other project right now, so keep an eye on the Azuki. Hell is empty and all the devils are here. Memeland, the NFT project, scooped up their own Azuki. You've seen Memeland been buying grails and top NFT projects. They did it with the Bored Ape Yacht Club ecosystem, where they bought apes and they staked them for the project itself. And now they're doing something similar with Azukis here. And this is a dope-ass Azuki right here. Shout out to Punk's OTC, where he scoops up a really rare CryptoPunk. He says, I got a new PFP. Quite excited to acquire not only a 6 attribute punk, which is very rare, but her choker makes her the rarest of all 6 attributes and the 19th rarest overall punk. And he bought this from Seed Phrase, a crypto punk whale from Twitter, we know. So congrats to him. It was bought for 190 ETH, $353,000. Beautiful piece. This was bought by Mooncat, popular Twitter collector, from Rick Osteenbroek. Hope I said that right. For $43,000. Pretty abstract. Love the colors. Super creative. I'm going to look more into this artist as I like this style. Congrats to the buyer and seller. Xcopy, who I love Xcopy. I'm a huge fan. This show is a tribute to Xcopy, as the starting background is from the Xcopy metaverse. To me, Xcopy is crypto art. There's nothing like it. And congrats to him on this massive sale of 242 ETH, $449,000. Beautiful piece here by Dan, sold for 30 ETH, $57,000. He's got a ton of cool pieces where these really kind of cyberpunk environments, and some of these pieces are really cool. Go check them out. Congrats to him. Planet Zomax, where I believe the name of this piece was "If You Touch It By," sold for 11 ETH, $21,000. Real cool. We forgot to mention this a couple weeks ago, but Deez, one of the influencers in the NFT space on Twitter, he got airdropped a free Nakamigo, so we've been talking about, as an honorary, right? We know a lot of projects will create honoraries and give them to influencers for free so that they can tweet about it and then get free marketing, free exposure, right? And a lot of times it'll work and sometimes it won't. But in this case, Deez decided to sell his honorary Nakamigo, and he sold it for 9.8 ETH. Imagine just getting airdropped a random NFT into your wallet and then making 10 ETH off of that. Super Chad move. These congrats to him, man. Some people were hating for selling your honoraries. If someone's put something in your wallet without you even asking about it, just so they can benefit off of the marketing, you get to do what the hell you want with that. That's my opinion. V1 Ape Punk sold for 100 ETH, $180,000. V1 Punk, we know, are the wrapped punks, bit separate from the regular crypto punks, but some people highly value these as well. Okay, so this one's not as bullish as the other ones. NFT Statistics points out this Fidenza sold for 51 ETH. We talked about Fidenzas and generative art in the beginning of the show. We showed charts. They're down only for weeks. And this is an example of Fidenza owners accepting WETH bids at lower prices. So again, if you're looking to buy some of these, people are selling them for the low. You could bid. You could throw out some low bids there. Maybe you can catch something. Again, NFT Statistics points out that William Mappin sold this one of one 75 WETH, huge sale. And the story behind this is generative art, but it looks like a golden ape, and it's an incredibly, I feel, rare output of a generative art project that just comes out looking like a really cool golden monkey. So shout out to him. All right, couple rare MFers sold this week. One for 18 ETH, one for 13.25. An alien and an ape MFer, which are some of the rarest in the collection. You love to see, as you can notice, that in this week's show, there's a couple more grail sales than in usual shows. Seems the market is starting to get a bit more hot lately. So keep an eye on that. Keep your finger on the pulse of the market. D-Gods, 2 huge sales, 18 ETH, 19.6 ETH. Again, people are buying way above floor on these. You're starting to see that on Ethereum. Couple hoodie crypto punks, which is some of the most rare punks in the collection, some of the most expensive. A shit mouth, what we like to call it, hoodie crypto punk sold for 238 ETH, and this one sold for 220 ETH, almost 400 grand. The COVID crypto punk hoodie. All right, so enough with the grails. Let's move in to some new drops and some upcoming new mints. Zog's Additions is from Matt Fury, the creator of Pepe. That's why people are excited about him. Okay, so this is an interesting drop. Now Zogs are getting an expansion, but instead of a single drop, we're now getting 100 open editions across 10 days, each for 0.1234 ETH. Every day you'll see 10 characters and 10 different open editions for 2 weeks straight, Monday through Friday. Interesting drop mechanics. I've not seen something like that before. And then there's different prizes for different amounts that you collect. So collect all Zogs from the same family. There are 10 different characters. You get a special family airdrop. You collect all family airdrops. You get a bonus Zoggy Pepe airdrop. And if you collect all 100 airdrops, all he says is, holy shit. We don't know what that means, but I wouldn't fade Matt Fury, the creator of arguably the most popular meme on the internet. So that's actually what it said on the website. Collect all 100 Zogs. Holy shit. And you got the Pepe's eyes coming out. But okay, so he said 90% of artists wouldn't be able to get away with releasing 100 open editions in 10 days. You'd hear people yell crash grab and oversupply. But again, this is Matt Fury. All right. Shout out to Giancarlo. Well, I'm getting a lot of this from his weekly newsletter and his tweets. Super helpful to see what's coming up in the NFT space in terms of new projects. And this is still the list of Reddit is still to come out. Other side, Ether is gone. It looks like we're getting closer to the Ether drop, which been a huge anticipation, as Timeless, the NFT gaming project, has tweeted that they are going to allocate 200 spots to their NFT holders via a raffle. So, and then there's a snapshot being done in 10 days. So you can go buy Timeless and have a shot to get a whitelist spot. It won't be a big percentage because I believe there's a few thousand of the Timeless NFTs, and they're only raffling off 200. So, but again, just giving out the alpha. One of the worst drops of the week, Soldier Boy, came in with what seems to be common behavior from him, where he's just grifting and dropping cash grabs on his followers, and this NFT project seems to be the latest one. So he tweets, "These are selling out fast." That was absolutely not correct. At that time, there was only a couple that had sold. And I think the project has since been removed from OpenSea. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's because he used some brands in the actual NFT, and he got DSCA'd or whatever. But so he held a Twitter space, super funny shit. If you want to laugh, check it out. He's a funny guy. But again, it doesn't seem like there's really anything different or special about this drop. He's just trying to raise some money, but do your own research. Sartoshi, he announced his latest artist for all his collectors who own the End of Sartoshi art. And this one is Furkash Nadia. Interesting art piece here. As we know, the previous one was with Pop Wonder, Life, Death, and Crypto art. Really cool piece. So if you have that, take a look at that and see if you're interested in that next drop by this artist. Shout out to Joey L. I came across his Twitter and his drop, and it really caught my attention. I thought it was super cool. Panoramic portraits from across the earth, different hemispheres of the world, different hemispheres of Web3. It looks like he goes and travels all around the world and takes different pictures in different cultures, in different areas. And some of them are already selling. This one just sold for 4 ETH. But super cool and thought out photography NFT drop. So take a look at Joey L. Congrats to him. Pretty big drop this week in terms of NFT news, not only because it's Bugatti, but secondly, they're dropping it on the Bitcoin blockchain. I think this is the first large brand outside of Yuga Labs, Bored Apes, that is dropping on the Bitcoin blockchain. So, and they say the purest perfect shape of nature is the egg. And this is what they posted on Twitter. You can see Bitcoin NFT right here. And then they say Bugatti and Osprey Studio announced a limited collection of precious metal object eggs. So I guess this is what they're going to look like. The Osprey Bugatti Egg Collection Royal Edition blends the timeless artistry of the Bugatti family with Osprey London heritage and craftsmanship. These are not cheap. I believe there's only several hundred of them, low supply, and they're going for tens of thousands of dollars, which makes sense. Bugatti's got a luxurious brand. and they want to make it exclusive. But the most interesting part about this drop, I think, is that it's going to be on Bitcoin. So it seems that Bitcoin is really gaining traction as more of the high-end art to, in a way to store lower amounts of NFTs that are higher end, maybe because it's easier to put on-chain, right, as we've talked in previous shows. A little bit more about the Bugatti drop. Bugatti and luxury brand Osprey are teaming up to release a limited set of 100 eggs in April that will be inscribed as ordinals. I've been talking about ordinals a lot. This is one for the whales, as you can see, $20,000 to $50,000 ranges. But the takeaway, again, is for the first time ever, major brand has decided to launch a luxury NFT collection on Bitcoin instead of Ethereum or any other chain. Big news. All right, a lot of super dope NFT news this week. I'm excited to jump right into it. Huge news. I don't see anybody on Twitter talking about this, which I don't understand why. But the creators of CryptoKitties, which are Chads back in the day, you know, one of the most popular projects back in the day, are looking to create a new NFT standard, right? So right now, I know a lot of the standard is ERC 721 and then ERC 5511. Correct me if I'm wrong. I sometimes mix up the numbers. But right now we have EIP 6551, as you can see in this up left corner. And this is what they say about it. You can go and look at the website, but they say a smart contract wallet for every NFT. So what is that? Store tokens inside of your NFTs. Do everything you would with a crypto wallet using your NFT. Use your NFT as your on-chain identity. This is interesting, right? This opens up a whole new world of opportunities and possibilities for NFTs themselves. And shout out to Benny, who was a part of the CryptoKitties team, and it was the one who tweeted the thread on this new potential NFT standard, the next innovation for NFTs. In 2017, they worked on the ERC 721 standard, and eventually they launched CryptoKitties, which was a massive hit at the time. So he says the idea is simple. What if NFTs had their own wallets? Instead of being SBTs, soul-bound tokens, it's the inverse, and we call them token-bound accounts. So we're going to jump a little bit more into what that actually means. So organize and curate your assets. An NFT can hold any kind of asset, including an ERC 721, 115, I knew I missed these up, ERC 20, and ETH. So let's say you own this Moonbird. This Moonbird can own different assets within the same NFT. So they don't show up as completely different assets within your crypto wallet. So as you can see, this is sort of like a demo. This Moonbird 1124 owns a different Proof Collective NFT, and they also have USDC tied to the Moonbird NFT and Ethereum, apparently. So it's an example of these becoming their own wallets where they can you can attach different things to them, whether it's an NFT or crypto in itself. Very interesting. There's nothing like that now. And again, the next thing is you can use your NFT as your on-chain identity. So role play as your NFT across the Ethereum ecosystem by connecting to different decentralized applications. So as you can see here, when you connect to your crypto wallet, your on-chain identity, the NFT that you set as your PFP will show up along with your ENS, and that would show up across all decentralized applications that you connect to in Web3. So I think this would be very interesting. And there's even a way to test this right now. If you go to their website, tokenbound.org, you connect your wallet, and then they do it via testnet. So check that out. I did have a conversation with Benny on Twitter, and he gave me some alpha on it. I asked him, when is this being launched? What are the details? He said, the amazing and beautiful thing about the new standard 6551 is that project creators don't have to do anything. Once 6551 goes to mainnet on Ethereum, every single NFT will have an account address. The main thing is going to be displaying this new layer of ownership within the marketplaces. So I'm assuming what he's saying is that OpenSea, Blur, LooksRare, the NFT marketplaces are going to have to update their system for you to be able to display your NFTs via the 6551 standard and just kind of update it on the back end for themselves on the marketplace end. So interesting thing. I think once this goes live, NFT projects are going to be able to get more creative. All right, so pretty wild stuff this week on Twitter in general, but this in particular, where Elon Musk tweeted out a meme from Punk 6529's The Memes NFT collection that says the seize the memes of production. And I doubt Elon knew this was an actual NFT and it was one from Punk 6529, but it was huge. The NFT space went wild. Everybody was like, holy shit, Elon Musk is tweeting out NFTs, seize the memes of production, which is a huge, it's a huge phrase that we use in the NFT space. And you could see that Punk 6529 Museum tweeted it out the next day, showing that they saw what Elon Musk had posted. And it was so wild that Beeple made it his everyday, where he says seize the memes, and he posted a picture of Elon's tweet on the cell phone. So pretty big deal. I'm sure some people looked into that and were like, what the hell is seize the memes? What is 6529? So, and then not only that, the floor went pretty crazy at the time of that tweet. This is a seize the memes NFT, which traded above 8 ETH at some point, some of these sales. So this was below 2 ETH. And then when Elon tweeted, this thing went bonkers. Sales going over 2 ETH, 4 ETH, some even over 8 ETH. I think we're back to around these levels. So whoever was buying up here, You kind of chased and bought the top, but this is the kind of thing that Elon does. And not only did he do that with the memes production NFT, but he also did it with Doge this week, and we'll be talking a little bit about that. About 30 minutes ago, Elon tweeted sees the memes of production card. The floor of memes surged from 0.08 to 0.2 ETH and back to 0.12. The particular card he tweeted sees JPEGs. The particular card he tweeted sees the JPEG saw sales in the 3 to 5 range and high as 8, now holding at 2.9 ETH. So he caused a little bit of a frenzy there, as he always does with Doge. He changed the logo of Twitter to a picture of Doge, and Doge really took off here. It's kind of reverted back to the original price, and we'll show some screenshots later on of what that looked like on the website. So, some big news from FIFA, where they're developing a new video game, and they've partnered with the NFT project, Altered State Machine, who creates NFTs created with AI. So, it launched the open beta. The game is called World Cup AI League. It's a 4v4 soccer strategy game that leverages AI. It's going to be on Android and iOS soon, and it's an iteration of its World Cup prediction game that was launched in November. But some more details on this. So this is actually Altered State Machine. This is the NFT project where they say bringing life to the open metaverse with unique AI you can own, train, and trade. Very interesting. I've looked into them. Really interesting stuff they're building. They've teamed up with many different projects to bring the AI aspect to other people's NFTs. And pretty big deal that they're doing that now with FIFA. So while the AI League is a free-to-play game, it's planning to launch an NFT marketplace for the game in the near future. When that debuts, the game's characters will be minted into NFTs, and all characters will be represented via NFTs going forward. So anybody who thinks NFTs are going away, absolutely not. But I think brands understand that, but they're trying to be really understanding on how to bring this to their audience without getting too much hate. The representative said that the NFT deployment will come later because the company wants the user experience to feel frictionless. And it doesn't want players to overly focus on or be distracted by the NFT elements. It's a strategy that's becoming more common in the Web3 space amid criticism from gamers, leading some developers to launch games in a traditional Web2 form first, without the crypto elements, and then they add it on top later once they already like the game. So that does seem to be becoming the common thing to do with Web2 companies. So, and the last interesting thing on this is AI League currently offers an in-game currency for users to buy cosmetic enhancements for their players, but that currency is notably not a cryptocurrency. And of course, you can't really do that with the app on Google App Stores. But again, this is going to be interesting, right? These games, you're going to be able to buy and sell NFTs. You're going to be able to buy and sell with some digital currency inside the game. That's going to be the future of all gaming. So I'm really excited for that. In other news, Renga, the NFT project, they filed a couple of trademark applications. And you might say, well, what are they for? Well, it's filed a trademark for a suite of software and services to enable users to view, trade, and manage digital collectibles and tokens. Near McD.eth says they filed 2 U.S. trademark apps for the below logo mark and Renga in connection with downloadable computer operating software for virtual environments and digital retail store services featuring downloadable, non-downloadable virtual goods. So we saw this with Pudgy Penguins file some trademarks a couple shows ago. Now we're seeing it with Renga. These projects are starting to rank it up, the ones who are still alive and going and building. So shout out to Renga. Prop House, Nouns ecosystem. So today they announced that they launched Infinite Rounds. That was on April 4th. Having hosted close to 200 rounds since their inception on Prop House, they've all been the same. They've all been fixed and time-based. But now they're introducing infinite rounds. And we'll talk a little bit more about what they are. All rounds so far have been time rounds, where it's just a start date, an end date. Winners are those with the most votes on their proposal. And then there's fixed rewards already set. So the 4 best people who get their proposals voted for, you get 0.4 ETH, let's say. Well, now that's changing. Now they're offering another option, which is infinite rounds offer proposers and voters more options. Flexible awards, quorums, and voting periods to determine winners. Rounds that end only once voters have chosen to grant all awards. So a little bit different. Projects can do, they can leave it more open-ended and just kind of wait until they attract the best ideas. So I think that's an exciting thing. And in other news, the Nouns Hackathon Week concluded. Over 450 proposals. That's massive. Huge participation in this. You know how many DAOs would kill to have this much participation? The Nouns ecosystem, they should think of this Nouns Hackathon Week as a success. And there were some really cool ones. Also, the Nouns, they have sponsored a top CSGO video game league team, and it's up for vote again, whether they should continue to spend the money to sponsor them or not. So the decentralized organization is set to vote on staying in the esports. It's pretty cool as a Nouns NFT holder that you get to vote on these kinds of things. Like, you know, there's $40 million plus in the DAO, and you get to vote on whether they go sponsor professional esports teams and all kinds of sort of things. So really interesting. Other big news in the NFT space. OpenSea Pro is launched. Well, We all know this was Gem, which OpenSea bought for I think like $1 billion sometime last year. It was the NFT aggregator platform, which OpenSea has launched and renamed OpenSea Pro. So as you can see here. So OpenSea Pro will still be run by the same Gem team you know and love, but with unified brands, we are able to offer users much more. So the first thing, of course, DGens are asking, well, okay, amazing. We love the tools. We love the trading tools that Blur has always offered us. But where's the airdrop, right? Like one of the main reasons Blur attracts so much of the volume in the NFT space now is because they pay people to bid and be on the platform. They're incentivizing users. OpenSea Pro did not make any announcements about a token at all, but they did say this. And we are not forgetting about community rewards. Keep your spyglasses ready. We are charting a different course by featuring NFTs as rewards. This will be separate from our commemorative Genesis NFT. So they just dropped the free NFT for users of Gem in the past. There's tens of thousands of them. So it doesn't really seem like there's going to be any value to that particular NFT. But they're saying that they're going to feature NFT rewards. They didn't really drop any details on that, but that's what us traders want to know, right? How are you going to incentivize to use your platform instead of Blur or others, as Blur is paying top dollar to bid on theirs? So interesting stuff happening, and let's see if the NFT war on the platform side continues. And a little bit more info on that. OpenSea's main marketplace recently cut its typical 2.5% platform fee amid the rise of rival Blur, which overtook OpenSea in terms of NFT trading in February. The firm announced today that OpenSea will reinstate its standard fee. So OpenSea's 2.5% fee is turned back on officially. And the pro side of the platform will instead offer a temporary 0% fee for traders. And just some stats on Blur and OpenSea. Despite losing the top spot in terms of NFT marketplace trading volume, OpenSea still boasts more active users than Blur. Nearly 91,000 unique Ethereum wallets over the past week compared to 41,000 Blur. So it still has about 2 times the amount of users, but the big whales are trading on Blur. So they're taking most of the volume. OpenSea had 424 million worth of NFTs traded in the month of March, and Blur had 1 billion. So you can see there's a big difference in volume, not that much of a difference in unique users. And of course, it's because they're rewarding people to use the platform. Web3 is different in this way, right? Web2 companies don't need to incentivize you via money or tokens or anything, right? But in Web3, users are asking for more. EcoSapiens. This project in Web3 is a carbon-backed NFT collection. They just raised $3.5 million. G-Money is an advisor. And these are the kind of cool projects that you like to see in the Web3 space, right? Where they have real utility and trying to solve real-world problems. So shout out to EcoSapiens. Super cool news. Polo Ralph Lauren, the fashion brand, new Miami store accepts crypto payments in partnership with BitPay. Plus, it'll launch an NFT access pass for an exclusive event at his Miami store. Is in partnership with Pool Suite, which is an NFT community. It really is such a perfect partnership. And I remember when I first came across them, I'm like, man, they got such a Ralph Lauren feel. They should do partnership with them. And it's so funny it ended up actually happening. But it's perfect. I think whoever made the decisions are spot on this one. And it signals a benchmark in the leisure arts. In celebration, all Pool Suite NFT holders have been airdropped a commemorative NFT, which allows the request of tickets to our grand soiree in Miami, April 28th. So there's an event at this store, April 28th. Pool Suite holders who get this NFT are going to be able to make it there. So really cool. You're starting to see that, continue to see that Web2, Web3 cross-marketing, cross-partnership stuff. All right, you can see here that even Ralph Lauren tweeted this from their official Twitter page, and they dropped this flyer, Grand Leisure Miami awaits. Some extra details on this. Pool Suite NFT holders have now been sent commemorative Ralph Lauren tokens issued on Ethereum. The tokens can be used to register for tickets to a private party. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not at the Ralph Lauren store. It's at a Miami estate hosted in late April. The NFTs have been distributed to more than 2,700 wallets. Holders of Pool Suite's Grand Leisure collection will also be able to update their leisurist avatars using Ralph Lauren-inspired digital looks based on the retailer's recent runway. Okay, that's pretty cool. So the avatars that this NFT project rocks, they're going to be able to throw some Ralph Lauren on in this partnership. So really cool. Other huge news in the NFT space with massive Web2 brands, Nike. We've talked about Dot Swoosh in the past. It looks like their first virtual creation on the platform is here. And they state, the Our Force One collection is Dot Swoosh's first ever offering of virtual creations. It's our homage to the creativity and versatility of the Air Force One that we all know and love, built for the digital generation. As you can see here, comprised of digital redemptions of Air Force Ones from the past, present, and future. Within the Air Force One collection, you'll see familiar favorites, a few cult classics, and even some Dot Swoosh originals. So really cool, right? They're going to bring you to the origin of the Air Force One, some of the current trends in the Air Force One, and then what the future of the Air Force One holds. And I'm sure that's going to be some cool futuristic digital Air Force One. And this is the first take of what maybe these could look like. Not exactly sure, but that's what they tweeted. And they also continue to say, although you won't be able to rock these in real life, your Air Force One will be more than just a JPEG. Each Air Force One in the collection is housed within one of the two OF1 boxes, Classic Remix and New Wave. So I guess this is the shoebox, the digital shoebox you receive when you buy it. The Classic Remix box is a portal to an Air Force One nostalgia, celebrating the heritage details of the sneaker we all know and love. The New Wave box is something, well, new, a gateway to a universe, Air Force Ones you've never seen before. This is the beauty of digital, right? Because now brands can provide an entire experience around a drop, opposed to when you go to the store and there's a new drop of Air Force Ones, that's what you get, right? The Air Force One. But now in these digital worlds, you can open up the shoebox and it can take you into a metaverse where there's Air Force Ones all over the place and there's a story involved, right? And maybe there's a treasure hunt. Who knows? But like the possibilities are endless. And brands love this because there's no merchandise costs, right? It's very cheap to create an NFT and to create digital items. So it's just, they're obviously going to be all over this. And I'm excited to see their first drop on the Doubt Swoosh digital creation platform. Other huge news in terms of actual real-life NFT utility. Shout out to Blockworks, where they say the Buenos Aires-based airline adopts NFT plane tickets. Customers of Buenos Aires-based Fly Bondi now have the option to activate NFT versions of their plane tickets. Why is this interesting? Let's check this out. Not only is it interesting, but the blockchain that they're choosing is an interesting one for me, at least. Travel Access Technology, called NFT Ticket, uses blockchain Algorand. Algorand Foundation CEO Stacy Warren said in a statement, the tech, which integrates ticket-related rules into the smart contract, likely represents the largest use case of utility NFTs we've ever seen. This is a big deal. We just saw huge news with Ticketmaster and NFTs last week. We're now seeing on the airplane side of ticketing. Ticketing is just a huge real-life use case for NFTs. A customer buys a ticket on the airline's website with a credit card. They will then receive a confirmation email like normal. A second email shares a link to activate what the airline calls Ticket 3.0. The user-facing name for the NFT ticket technology. Of course, they don't want to hear Web3 crypto right now, so it's understandable that they want to brand it differently. Each user creates an account that is associated with an Algorand address. The traveler doesn't get their private keys, however, and must use the platform to modify. Okay, so this is a little bit more of a centralized way of doing it, but it provides a better user experience, and it doesn't require the average user to understand how to use crypto tech and crypto wallets and all the complicated things that all of us may think is simple, but it might not be for the average person. And they say in the coming weeks, Fly Bondi travelers will be able to resell their NFT tickets via the Ticket 3.0 accounts. This is one of the biggest value adds of NFTs, right? So now any ticket that you buy as an NFT, you'll be able to sell it on a secondary market. So if you buy a plane ticket and you don't want it anymore, you can sell it on the Buenos Aires secondary market. And then let's say you're looking for a ticket and it's, you could buy it from somebody else instead of having to look directly from what the airline's offering, right? Maybe you can buy it cheaper from someone else who had an emergency and they can't fly that day anymore, right? So this is going to be an interesting thing where we can are we going to be flipping airline NFT tickets? I don't know, but that'll be interesting. All right, news with MetaMask. Finally, we'll be able to see NFTs in our actual crypto wallets on the desktop. This is what it looks like. I've actually looked at it, and I have the NFT tab on my MetaMask, so you should as well. Where you go to NFTs, and it actually shows your NFTs. You can buy them, you can sell them, and it shows up right there in the wallet. Before it was just on the app, but now it's on the desktop. And they say in our latest version of extension, all ERC 721s and 115s, which are just NFTs, different kinds, appear as long as automatic NFT detection is enabled. With this update, you can send ERC 721 tokens NFTs. We'll add the ability to send ERC 115s as well. So cool to see that we can finally buy and send NFTs via MetaMask on the desktop. All right, Bitcoin stamps. The creator of the new protocol claims it is the most permanent means of inscribing data on the Bitcoin blockchain. Rather than storing image data within prunable transaction witness data, which is what an ordinal does, Bitcoin stamps store directly within spendable transaction outputs. By doing so, the data is preserved in such a manner that it is impossible to prune from a full node, preserving the data immutably forever. So the pseudonymous stamps creator Mike in Spaces on the project's GitHub page this is what he shared. But let's get some information from Bob, who wrote a great thread on stamps on Twitter. Shout out to him. So stamps are recently released a protocol allowing you to store images directly on Bitcoin, right? The TLDR is, it's 4x more expensive than ordinals, at least. Penalty and meme pool, which means it takes longer. There's less tooling available for it, as both ordinals and Bitcoin stamps are pretty brand new. And it bloats UTXO set. That one I'm not completely familiar with, but just with the other ones, it being slower, more expensive, not enough tooling, it doesn't make it doesn't seem like, at least from what Bob is saying, that it's a better alternative than ordinals. But some pretty big news with ordinals. Shout out to Leonidas.og, where he says, we have officially hit 1 million inscriptions for ordinals on the Bitcoin blockchain. So ordinals continue to be a growing ecosystem on Bitcoin. You love to see it. Hopefully this helps pay for Bitcoin security in the long run. All right. Shout out to Dulian.eth, where he says, congrats to the Doodles team passing the Doodle Bank amendment. What is this news? They are waiving the $100,000 commercial license cap. So now, with your Doodles NFT, you can make money off of the IP of your Doodles NFT past 100,000. There is no cap on that. You don't have to share the revenue with the Doodles NFT project owners. You don't have to sign any paperwork. You can simply just make money off of it. So in connection with projects born out of approved Doodle Bank proposals, the 100K USD cap on revenue our community members may generate from exploiting their doodles will be waived. So cool to see. How many people are going to make over $100,000 with the Doodles IP? Probably not many, but it's cool to see that they took away the cap. All right. Fortune has a new NFT dropping soon. Collectors can now purchase the iconic magazine cover by the trailblazing generative artist, ETH Yard. The piece titled Fortune Crypto Climbs Back from the Worst Year Ever will be available for 0.1 ETH during the 24-hour sale, and it's done on Foundation. All right, Artifact. They finally officially drop their clothing lines for each different aspect of their NFT collection, which there's a few of them, and we're going to jump in the different DNAs of the project, right? So 10 iconic Air Force One sneakers with CloneX DNA designs, and also 10 different fashion collections representing the CloneX DNAs, right? The 10 collections are being shipped out in batches, and this is like a few of the pictures from them. But shout out to veks.eth, where he took screenshots of all the different DNAs and what the clothing looks like for each DNA, right? So this is for the human DNA. This is for the, I believe this is for the reptiles. Yes, it is for the reptile. This is for the angel CloneXs. This is for the robots. This is for the demons. And this one is for the undead CloneX DNA. As you can see, they all match the DNA's colors, and they have sort of different designs to kind of match that. So really cool, and looks like these are going to be available real soon. So cool for holders that they're finally receiving that. This is pretty big news in the NFT space. Manifold.xyz. Burn Redeem update. Now burn any NFT. We have lifted some restrictions on the Burn Redeem app. Creators can now use any NFT as a burnable token for their artwork, and it also changed the burnable token for a given redemption at any time. So what does this mean for creators? If you have ever minted NFTs on other platforms, you can now use those for whichever burns you'd like to do. You can also do interesting collaborative mechanics, like burning another creator's token for your work or vice versa. We just saw this for the first time with a major artist, and everybody was talking about it. So shout out to Serpunk, where he says, we are seeing Manifold's new burn mechanics at play here with Grimplin, huge crypto artist, who is the artist of Nouns, some of the Moonbirds, smaller project art, and a few others, but he's very well known. He dropped some art over the weekend. There was only 69 pieces of this art. It was an open edition of 69, and this was the kicker. It was free, but you had to burn a Nakamigos NFT. We've never seen something like this before, right? So he said, if you own this NFT project, you can burn it and you get my art piece for free. Essentially what he did here. The Nakamigos, as we looked at that point, was at a 0.70 floor. So if you wanted it, you had to essentially burn the Nakamigo NFT forever, right? So that took away some NFTs from the Nakamigos supply, because those 69 NFTs have been burned and we'll never see them again. But now the floor of this NFT art project, where there's only 69, is above, or it's right at 1 ETH. So these people made a little money. They made 0.3 ETH pretty much right away if they wanted to sell that. Shout out to Grimplin with the interesting mechanics here. We've seen several projects take advantage of this Nakamigos hype, where Grimplin, right, using the hype of Nakamigos to bring attention to this, or maybe he was just having some fun. But we've seen several projects do this now, and it's cool to see. Can you blame them? I mean, it's kind of a smart thing, right? On Cyber is another startup in Web3 that creates metaverses, where they are utilizing the Nakamigos hype. As you can see, they have released custom avatars, and in their original tweet, there's a Nakamigo in one of the On Cyber worlds dancing. It's the alligator Nakamigo. So everybody from Beeple, from On Cyber to Griplin to other projects are capitalizing on this Nakamigos hype. And honestly, it's a smart thing, right? Everybody's talking about Nakamigos right now. And everybody gets hyped when they see a project integrate them. So custom avatars are coming out on Cyber. As you can see, this one is with a CloneX, which is really dope, right? I think this is going to take NFTs to another level when we can actually represent ourselves in these digital worlds as our 2D NFTs in these 3D fashions. So I think that's why building a digital identity doesn't make sense for a lot of normal people when these are just 2D static pictures. But most people don't understand that these things are going 3D. And when you build your digital identity around them now, and then people see you as them in the metaverse, and it's just you expanding on that. Big news from Azuki. Their event this year will be in Vegas in June. Not much details at all. All they said was RSVP details soon, location to be determined. And it looks like there's some linkage to the rabbit. I'm not sure if that's going to be the theme of the party, but we know Azuki Grails have been flying off the shelves. It could be in anticipation to this. Maybe there's another airdrop to come at this party like they did at the last party. Who knows? Somebody knows something. Azuki's on fire. Memeland not only bought a shit ton of Bored Apes and staked them, not only did they just buy an Azuki Grails you saw earlier, but now they're saying Chapella Hard Fork, which is the Shanghai upgrade, which just means people will be able to withdraw their ETH next week for the first time in years, is happening on April 12th. Holders can withdraw their staked ETH. As a company truly believing and actively building on Web3, Memeland keeps most of the treasury in crypto, mainly in Ethereum. Therefore, we are setting up 69 validators, of course, for the meme, for the Ethereum network. There are 3 main reasons they're doing this. To help secure the Ethereum network, to earn rewards as operating revenue, right? They want that Ethereum interest by staking, and to dog food stake land before launching it publicly. So I don't know too much about the stake land stuff, but interesting. And it's a pretty big treasury, right? That's a good amount of money that they're staking here and creating validators with. So shout out to them. They're making the network stronger for all of us. Dada, which is the founder of Forgotten Ruins. This is very interesting what they're doing, and it's pretty next level stuff. They are saying we are teaching AI about the Runiverse. The lingo, the locations, the memes. AI-assisted storytelling is the future. It can act as a producer, screenwriter, and editor, but our input gives it the soul. Wow. I think these are the first guys I've seen in NFT space that are doing something like this. So shout out to them. I think the team over Forgotten Ruins is pretty next level. Okay, Proof. Shout out to them. They have a new art project dropping, launching on April 12th. The name of it is called Evolving Pixels, an exploration of growth through computational art. And it features 10 incredible generative and AI artists, all selected and curated by Emily. The total supply is going to be 850 NFTs, minted for 0.2 for the Proof Collective and 0.25 for the Moonbird holders. They're really doubling down on Moonbirds being the art collector's PFP, as we went over. Proof Collective Pass guaranteed mint window, and then for the Moonbirds AI mint window. So bringing utility via art. That is really cool. And this is a big one here for Moonbirds. Again, we are thrilled to announce Moonbirds. The Diamond exhibition drops on April 27th. Keep reading for more. This is all the details for the pass. So it's called the Diamond exhibition because this is for the people who have been nesting, or AKA staking, locking up their Moonbirds for the longest. And they would be called Diamond nesting. It's only for these people. So 418 day 1 Diamond nested choice pass airdrop. And then you'll get to choose your selection. The exhibition is a collection of 10,000 digital artworks by 22 artists we admire for their unique artwork, perspective, and stories. There's some big names, right? This is a really cool project because there's some big names in those 22 artists. One of them is Dirty Robot, who created the Renga art and is the founder of Renga. And also Beeple, which we all know. He's also going to do some art for this Diamond exhibition. And it's going to be an event in New York City. So that honestly looks super dope. Shout out to everybody who's going to get some. I'm going to be there. I wish I could be there as well. Okay. Jack Butcher. Always keeping us on our toes, I swear, with the OPEPin. He says OPEPin AI, which is kind of a joke to the Open AI company, right? And he puts the OPEPin logo. I encourage you to go read the thread on this. There's some really interesting things they're doing that they're making it extremely easy for the OPEPin community to make outputs of different kinds of OPEPin art utilizing AI. And they want to integrate that right into the OPEPin website, community, all of it. Some pretty next level stuff. I think they're doubling down on AI, and especially with the art side of it, more than any other project right now. We saw Forgotten Ruins is doing that with the story. We're seeing these guys really do it with the art. All right. And the winner of the Metaverse Fashion Week 2023 is definitely not the Metaverse Fashion Show in general, because numbers were way down this year. Last week's event plummeted in attendance from 2022. Let's take a look. It's hosted in the Decentraland Metaverse. It saw a massive drop in attendance on its second run. Unique visitors dropped from over 100K last year to just 26,000 this year. It's a big drop. Of course, there's big brands involved in this Metaverse Fashion Week. Dolce & Gabbana, Balmain, Coach, Tommy Hilfiger garnered less than 9,000 unique visitors. It literally dropped off by 92%. Wow. I knew the Metaverse was down, but that's pretty down bad. All right, moving along to XD Gods. Dingaling here posting that he just minted the Moon Totem. What's in the box? So this is an NFT drop that was created by somebody in the DGODS community, a group of guys here. We are an exclusive group club for holders of 10 DGODs or more. Let us help you find a DGOD. Wow, okay. So this is for DGOD whales, and apparently there's going to be some sort of party. But we also don't know what's in the box. I think the box is supposed to reveal today, so hopefully we'll have that information. DGOD's community is long and strong, man, and they're building. So these are always positives to see if an NFT community is growing and has the right holders, if they're building within. All right, that's the NFT news. Yuga news. It seems every week there's Yuga news, but these guys don't stop building. Let's jump right in. All right, shout out to King Blackboard, where he says, so codas and vessels will have the opportunity on April 6th to buy the Gucci pendant, 450 ape. There was going to be 3,333. So what happens? You purchase this pendant, the metadata and the image of your coda character will update, and there will be a claim for a physical Gucci pendant as well. So what was interesting about this is that it didn't sell out. It's like the first Yuga drop ever to not sell out. It was very close to selling out, but still did not sell out. 3,019 were sold out of 3,333. And everybody on Twitter was wondering why. Why didn't this sell out? It was still a huge success. In total, Gucci sold 3,019 for 1,358,000 ape, or almost $6 million, right? Ton of money. They still killed it. You get the physical, but again, the physical is the same. Everybody's getting the same physical, all 3,019 people. And you're getting the digital version on your coda. But the thing is you can't sell it. It's not an NFT itself. It's stuck on your coda. So I think that helps it lose a little value because there's no resale value on it, digitally at least. So unless you really wanted this on your coda and that's it, or you really wanted the physical piece, which a lot of DJs probably don't care for jewelry like that, I think it's understandable why they weren't able to sell this one out. But again, never fade Yuga. Maybe they bring some utility to codas that have this trait in their metadata in the video game, right? And I wouldn't doubt they did. It's just a lot to ask for upfront in terms of money for something you may not know enough about. So I think that could be why they didn't sell out. But again, don't sleep on Yuga. They could bring massive utility to this, and then maybe codas that have the Gucci pendants sell for a premium. Who knows? All right. So the way the process worked this week, where other side dropped codas as their own individual NFTs, and so with the vessel. So coda decoupling and vessel claim went live. Only other deeds, which is the other side virtual land, with coda can decouple, but all other deeds can claim a vessel, right? So in order to decouple, your other deed must be burned. Burning your original other deed will yield a coda NFT and an other deed expanded NFT without the coda. Each will exist in its own collection. They will now become separate collections, as you can see here. So now if you had a coda on a piece of your land, you're decoupling it and it has its own collection now. And now the coda floor is at 10 ETH, which is pretty big. There's 4,500 of them. And then the vessel is one, everybody who had a other side land got a vessel. So, but these are at only 0.31 ETH because there's 33,000 of these. So, and there's 10,000 different owners, which out of 100,000 pieces of land, 10%, it's not terrible. It's more than I anticipated. Okay, remember last couple shows where we went on the second trip where you were able to beta test other side again? The team who ended up winning that competition got airdropped what they call the other side relics. And it's the winged helmet. This is what it was. They were airdropped to players on Team Galatia, has been completed, and those who participated and won and became victorious during that second trip. So there's 2,218 of these. Pretty decent floor, 0.43. It's the first ever other side relic. Some argue that it was actually the Gucci pendant, but this is the actual first relic from like just another, like a Yuga relic itself. So I think this is pretty cool. Maybe this is pretty historic. Imagine other side becomes big. Like, will this first relic have value over time? Possibly. I think this was a cool take here by Earhart Board Ape Yacht Club, where he said, forget the physical. It's all about the potential future gameplay utility. It's called a relic for a reason. Yuga founders are notorious World of Warcraft enthusiasts. And apparently this is what a relic means. World of Warcraft relics. Relics refer to a type of equipment worn in the relic equipment slot by Death Knights and a few other characters. Relics give a significant bonus to a specific speller's ability, either as a passive equip or chance to proc effect. So apparently relics in games give you some sort of extra powers, and potentially this is what this pendant and this winged helmet can give you, and that, depending on what those powers are, it can really determine its value. So good point here by Earhart. So you might be saying, well, did people make money on this or not? Well, shout out to NFT Statistics, where he outlines here and illustrates value is down a little bit, where yesterday where you owned the other side piece of land, Dakota, and there was no vessel. It was valued at 13.25 ETH. And then after you decoupled Dakota, you got your vessel separately, and then the land was separate. The price went down a little bit. It went down to 11 ETH. So we always know there's a little bit of a drop after the sell the news event. So you can come in and actually buy it cheaper than when it was prior to the drop. But again, we don't know if that's going to stay there. So that was in the Yuga news for the week. Crypto news, let's jump right in. Latin America's biggest investment bank just launched a stablecoin, and they chose Polygon. So the blockchain behind the 10th largest crypto market cap, Matic, it's a side chain to Ethereum. And Latin America's biggest investment bank, Brazil-based BTG Pactual, announced the launch of its stablecoin. Rio de Janeiro-based Pactual said in a statement that its BTG Dole token, available for clients now, is priced in US dollars. Pretty cool to see. Shout out to Jose. He's part of the Delphi team, founder. They just raised $13.5 million for Web3 Accelerator. Shout out to them. Looks like they raised some from Jump Crypto, which is a big crypto fund in the space. BitPay, we talked about this a little bit earlier, where the Ralph Lauren store in Miami will now accept crypto. And which cryptos? Well, specifically Bitcoin, Ethereum, Matic, and Polygon. Or I'm sorry, by Polygon. I thought it was Doge as well. No, actually, it was just Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Matic. All right, moving on. Solana has a major upgrade here, and it's called state compression, as you can see. Solana's low fees have made it an industry leader, but thanks to a recent innovation from teams across the ecosystem, it's about to cost even less. Introducing state compression, a new way to store data on Solana that lowers costs significantly. And they're not kidding. Let's look at these numbers. The first use of state compression, compressed NFTs, reduces the cost of minting NFTs by 24 to 24,000x. As of April 5th, minting 1 million uncompressed NFTs on Solana costs over $250,000. Using compressed NFTs now, $110. Compare 250 grand and $110. This is a massive upgrade. And now people can mint tons and tons of NFTs on Solana for extremely cheap. And I'm sure that some companies are going to value this. As we know, that gas fees can be a little bit expensive on Ethereum, depending on what you're doing. And even on Polygon, as we saw that video game last week, move from Polygon to Arbitrum due to the Polygon gas fees. All right, this was huge news on Twitter. Elon literally changed the Twitter logo on the website for everybody in the world to the Doge, a picture of Doge, right? Twitter removes the Doge website logo. It only lasted a couple days. As you can see here, Watcher.guru, he reminds us that Twitter removed it from the website. Elon then posted this meme where he says that's an old photo of Doge getting pulled over with the Twitter on there. He's an ultimate troll. But this was a reason when we showed that Doge chart earlier why it was pumping. Okay, Japan takes first steps to become the crypto-friendly hub. As we know, America is doing the opposite. After crypto winter, Japan may be the first to welcome spring, the white paper said. This was a white paper written by some of the higher-ups in the Japanese government. As a country that has overcome many hardships in the crypto space industry, we are in a position to persuade the world about the immeasurable potential of Web3. Why can't we be talking about Web3 like this here in America? And they talk about, in order to create a Web3 friendly environment, in the paper, policy changes need to be made, specifically around taxes, introduce fair laws to DAOs, and in order to promote blockchain-related businesses in Japan, it is necessary to develop an environment that facilitates investment in tokens. So Japan, a lot more bullish, and regulatorily, regulation is much more friendly than here in America. And a little bit more on that, CoinDesk's Emily says, Japan is envisioning this world in which everybody's using crypto in its newly released Web3 white paper. On the other hand, a U.S. White House report says crypto does not offer any fundamental value. Come on, let's be real here. There's obviously an agenda in the U.S. government, and there's no coincidence they're dropping that FedNow token this summer. And then they're done talking crypto. There's obviously a conflict of interest here. All right, people are saying Solana's dead. I was with a buddy yesterday who was telling an artist to not put art on Solana. But people are sleeping on Solana. I know they went through that FTX blow up, but the community has stayed resilient, and this is evidence. 10,000 people registered for their Grizzly Solana hackathon, 813 submissions, and participants from over 70 different countries. This is huge attendance, mostly developers, and it goes to show that the Solana ecosystem and community is still thriving, is still vibrant, and developer growth is always a huge metric to grade a blockchain on, to see how many people are there building, how many startups are there building, right? Okay, DYDX, the largest DEX decentralized exchange on the Ethereum blockchain, is winding down its services in the whole country of Canada. Okay, new Canadian users will not be able to onboard to the exchange. This is no bueno. DYDX winding down services in Canada. Only mode until April 14th, you'll be good. And then after that, it's done. So Brian, he makes an interesting point here, right? How is a decentralized exchange able to seize operations in one specific region? If it's decentralized, how can they stop it, right? Well, Stephen says, pretty sure this just means that Canadian users won't be able to access the web app. Canadians can still call the smart contracts themselves. No way to prevent that. Good point by Stefan, but Brian also has a good point here. Unless in FURAs, nodes start rejecting connections from Canadian IP address like they did with Venezuela and Russia. We did see that happen, which was not a good look, right? When America sanctioned Venezuela and Russia, FURA was forced to stop accepting transactions from from the people of these countries, and they could do the same to Canada, right? And that would not be a good thing. You can run your own Ethereum node and then run your DYDX transactions through your own node, but the average person doesn't do that now. So, interesting discussion there, I think. All right, there was some big Arbitrum news this week. The community was flooding. There was a discussion on the way they were doing things. Let's jump in and see what the actual outcome was. And the good thing is it ended up being a positive outcome. So, Blockworks, they started this thing where they say Arbitrum Foundation could be funded with tokens worth $1 billion. Olympio, who is actually an Arbitrum delegate, which means that he votes for a lot of the proposals for other people. They delegate their votes to him. It all started when Blockworks Research posted this thread. Blockworks Research is voting against AIP1, Arbitrum Improvement Proposal Framework. We are committed to improving DAO governance and transparency, and this proposal represents a step backwards in its current state. They proceeded to write an entire thread why they were voting no and why they were against it. And this is how the community felt in general. Saw this all over Twitter. Arbitrum Foundation made a proposal to allocate 750 million ARB tokens for administration and operational costs, but Arbitrum token holders voted against it. And now, Arbitrum Foundation said the vote was just a formality, and they have already spent 50 million, 6.7% of the proposed 750 million Arbitrum tokens. He continues to state, your vote is not a vote. I think people went a little bit too hard on Arbitrum. I think this was just a major fail with Arbitrum communicating with their community. And this further discussion with Blockworks speaking on why they were voting no. Our core concern lies within the 750 million ARB tokens worth more than $1 billion at current prices that will be held seemingly under the control of the Arbitrum Foundation, run by only 3 initial directors. As per the Arbitrum Foundation's documentations, 4.27 billion ARB tokens were meant to be allocated to the Arbitrum DAO treasury. However, as allowed in AIP1, only 3.5 billion ARB tokens have been transferred to the DAO treasury. So there was some miscommunication here. And of course, the community is going to point it out and say, well, you said this. Why is this happening? Why is this coming out of your wallet instead? Even if those amounts may be fair, it may be industry standard, the community wants you to be upfront. And that is fair to ask for, right? And Olympio continues to say here, the difference between the Starknet, which is another layer 2 that did an airdrop, just like Arbitrum is doing, same thing with Optimism. Those foundations, with the Arbitrum Foundation, is that they express the foundation's allocation at their tokenomics before launching the tokens. Arbitrum did not. They created AIP1 after, and instead of defining it in the documents beforehand, which caused the miscommunication. And Olympio continues to say that here, where he says there's poor communication and wording. AIP1 is redacted in the future as if it still needs to happen, when in reality, it's already happened. Your votes were technically worthless in that proposal. So Arbitrum, I think one thing Arbitrum did well is they communicated effectively when the community communicated with them that they were unhappy. And I think they did a good job of that. So to address 2 key questions that are asked, the foundation did not sell 50 million ARB tokens, and the rationale behind an initial allocation of 750 million ARB was covered in significant detail in the forum post above. They continue to explain why they sold it, and that it was for operating costs, which is a normal thing for foundations to do. And like Olympio here, I agree, right? People are bashing Arbitrum in forums saying that they already started dumping their own token, which is normal, right? All chains and protocols sell for operational purposes. This is normal. The problem was the lack of communication and not the selling of the tokens. But Arbitrum came back and addressed that very well. Thanks to the DAO participants and delegates for their feedback. It will likely not pass, and we're committed to addressing the feedback from the community. Before we dive in, we want to clarify why 10 million ARB tokens were sold by the foundation. They tell you that it's traditional covering of operational costs, like we were talking. And then there's 4 things that the community addressed with them that they want to provide feedback and fix. And I think this was the best thing they could have done to squash this FUD. AIP1 is too large, covers too many topics. They're going to break it down to different subsections. Great. 750 million ARB, 7.5% of the supply, is being sent to the Arbitrum Foundation. This will be voted on its own AIP, and we're working on options to add more accountability. The community wanted more accountability on that money. What are you going to use it for? What's the vesting period? Give us details, right? And we are working on options to add more accountability. Vesting period of 4 years. Tokens held by the foundation cannot be used to vote, et cetera, et cetera. That needs to be outlined, right? And I think that's fair for the community to ask for, and Arbitrum seems to agree here. AIP1 does not discuss transparency of however the funds will be spent. As part of the budgeting at AIP, we will propose transparency reports to make the community aware on how this money is going to be spent, right? And as they addressed all the concerns and said how they were going to make things better, Blockworks turns around and says, we are now voting in favor for the new AIP 1.1 because of the transparency and because everything is more clear up front. We believe the revisions are satisfactory with our path forward suggestions and that these proposals will be beneficial to the Arbitrum DAO. That's the cool thing about community, right? And this only happens in Web3. So Arbitrum was looking to do things a certain way. They wanted to integrate the community. The community was not happy with exactly the way they did it. And then now it seems like both are more on a similar page. So you'll have to see it. Their main request was that they wanted Arbitrum to provide a detailed budget, which, as you saw, they said they will do that. And they wanted to create vesting contracts for the tokens. They said they will do that. Both conditions have been appropriately met. And as we've already stated, they're going to vote for it, and they're excited for the vibrant and thriving ecosystem in Arbitrum, which is the largest L2 on Ethereum. Biggest airdrop in history. It's a pretty important community right now. All right, last but not least, what is happening in the regular TradeFi Web2 financial world? Just a couple of things that are happening I think we should pay attention to. The Chinese yuan surpasses the euro to become Brazil's second largest currency in foreign reserves, right? We know that Brazil's part of BRICS. Shout out to Jim Bianco with Bianco Research. The bottom panel shows deposits from banks. Outflow began to accelerate in January of 2023. This was before the bank failures began, right? So a lot of people started saying that the bank failures caused the withdrawals, but this was happening before the bank failures. But why? Well, to borrow a crypto term, the public is yield farming, right? Just like we were with a crypto protocol. And the banks are not offering any yield. So they are going where the yields are abundant, which is the money markets, right? The bottom panel shows deposits begin to outflow in January. Which is the money markets. And the money markets, money has been flowing, and it hasn't stopped. As you can see, it's going parabolic. Shout out to Eric, where he says, this chart of money market mutual fund assets is breathtaking. It's not just the angle of the slope, but the size. They've grown by $460 billion this year. So people are saying, screw you, bank. You're not paying us any interest, even though you're taking our money and you're putting it into treasuries. We're going to take our money and put it into treasuries ourselves and keep the yield. And that is what's causing outflows of banks at record levels. And levels we haven't seen in 50 years. And this is concerning for banks, right? Because their money is based on deposits. Okay, we know America is the country of debt. Last month, the FHA approved 40-year mortgage terms to make homes more affordable. Here's how much total interest you'd pay on a $400,000 loan at 5%. On a 30-year mortgage, $373,000. Add an extra 10 years, you're paying $525,000. Continuing to kick the can down the road. As inflation continues, as things get more expensive, as the dollar devalues, as countries around the world stop buying our debt, and we continue to print, this is affecting the average American where they can't afford regular 30-year mortgages. We're having to extend them to 40. We can't afford 5, 6, 7-year car loans. We're extending them to 10 years. So what is happening here? Are we just going to extend these forever so that Americans can afford these payments? I mean, things are getting very expensive out there. This was very interesting news, and I'm surprised it's not being talked about more. European Central Bank President reveals plans to launch their digital euro, the CBDC, and says that there will be control over payments. Duh, we knew that. That's not surprising. We already knew they were going to drop a CBDC. But what she slid in during the Zoom call was that it's illegal to use over 1,000 euros in cash. I was not aware of this. Imagine if in America paying for something with over $1,000 in cash was illegal. And that's because they want control. They want to see where you're spending your money so they can tax you. So, which, sure. But we know that governments don't usually stop there. Based off of history, what's always happened is if they get control, they take advantage of it. All right, pause this if you want to read some of the most interesting things in TradeFi and macro by Watcher.Guru. Great recap here. A couple of things. Malaysian Prime Minister says there's no reason to continue to depend on the dollar. Saudi Prince MBS says he's no longer interested in pleasing the U.S. Trump says our currency is crashing. The Bitcoin white paper is on every Apple Mac computer for some reason. We don't understand why. As you can see that there's a lot of things happening macroly. There's also a credit crunch happening with the banks. We talked about record level outflows of banks. But now U.S. bank lending contracted by the most on record in the last 2 weeks of March. The most in Federal Reserve data back to 1973. primarily due to a drop in loans by small banks. So we know small banks are hurting bad right now, which if we're not giving out loans, that slows down economic activity because that's how businesses, real estate developers, and all these people expand. Another big one, shout out to Watcher.guru. U.S. personal savings rate dropped to 3.7% last year, the lowest since 2007. Savings rates for Americans are getting really tight. So thank you so much for tapping into another episode 9 of Web3 Weekly Alpha. We will continue to do these every single week.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been popping since Web 1. Hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream. Now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems. Topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to